Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another Jill and Amy video. If you don't know us, my name is Amy Chandler, and I am one of the certified lifestyle coaches at Manchester Hospital that facilitates the Prevent T2 program, which is a diabetes prevention program. Jill is also one of those coaches, and today we wanted to come to you guys to talk about healthy meal options. The reason why is because when we start our Prevent T2 program, one of the most common interests or questions that participants have is how to create a healthy meal. So Jill, you want to take it over for a second and show everybody the nice graphic picture of what that healthy meal looks like?
Absolutely. So at one of our initial sessions for the program, it's a year-long program. It's really designed that way so that you can make small lifestyle changes that will stick. We talk about building a healthy plate. So this kind of looks like a plate you might use for a toddler, but I really like the visual here. So it shows that essentially you want to be working towards half of your plate of vegetables, a quarter protein, a quarter grains, or maybe some starchier vegetables, and then maybe a small serving of dairy included in that as well. So this is just one example. It's not always going to look like this, but we're going to give you a couple of examples of maybe what a day could potentially look like if you were joining us in this program.
Great, thanks so much, Jill. And I just want to show you guys another option too. This plate looks very similar to what Jill just showed us, but it's just a regular plastic plate that you can buy at the grocery store, the disposable ones. So it might be helpful to start with this at home until you get used to the portion sizes and know how to create your own plate. Okay, so keep that in mind for the future. So I'm going to start off with a breakfast option. And the reason why we chose this one is because it's actually multifunctional. It can be a breakfast or it can be a lunch, and I'll explain that to you a little bit later. But basically, we're going to be doing a yogurt parfait. So we're going to start the base of our yogurt parfait with a low-fat, plain Greek yogurt. All right. We encourage you to try the plain version because that gives you a little bit more control over the sugar content that's in the yogurt. If you do a fruited or a flavored yogurt, you don't have control over that. Then we're going to layer in our good berries. So we're going to take a half a cup of blueberries and a quarter cup of raspberries. No particular reason, just, you know, based on the serving size, you can change that up if you'd rather. If you want more raspberries than blueberries, that's okay too. And then we are going to use a granola. I chose an organic one that I got in Aldi, a little bit cheaper, good ingredients, so you can use that. And I chose just to use 1/8 of a cup. Now you could go for a little bit more, but just keep in mind if you add more granola, it's going to add to your carbohydrate and to your calories overall. So pouring it all together, it looks like this, which is a decent sized breakfast, right? A good amount of food right there. The total calories for this breakfast are going to be 245 calories with about 30 grams of carbs. You're also getting 18 grams of protein in that breakfast and about 5 grams of fat. All right. So a good healthy balance like Jill talked about in that plate where you're getting your fats, your carbs, and your protein. Now the reason why this is multifunctional is because you could put this in a nice little jelly jar or a canning jar if you want to go a little bit bigger. I know it's hard to see you against my window. You could put all these ingredients together and layer it and throw it in the freezer. Take it out in the morning, and by the time you eat your lunch, whether you're on the road or you're at work, it's going to be unfrozen and ready to eat. And or you could use this, make these ahead of time, put them in the fridge, and this could be the base of a really good fruit smoothie or a protein smoothie if you add a little bit more protein powder to it. All right, so that's breakfast. Jill's going to take it over now and talk to you guys about a lunch option. Go ahead, Jill.
So we had a nice night the other night and we grilled some chicken. So I'm going to throw together a quick grilled chicken salad. So my plate may not look divided up like this exactly. I'm kind of putting it all together, but I'm still including all of these elements in this meal. So I have a base here of some spring greens. And the thing I like about this is you can change it up based on whatever you have in the house or whatever your preferences are. So I have some red and yellow peppers, so I'm going to add some of those. I have some carrots. Now, normally I would not necessarily have this all diced up and ready to go, but that is a great thing that you can do. So for instance, I have a little bit of leftover. I can combine these, and then tomorrow all I'll need to do is get out a new base of greens, and I've got all these things already chopped and ready to go. So another thing that we talk about is preparation. Having some things kind of pre-prepared for those days when you either are short on time or motivation. If you have healthy foods ready to go, you're more likely to turn to those. So I'm going to add some grape tomatoes. I'm going to throw them all in there. I'm going to add my chicken. So I prefer really thinly sliced. You can do chunks. You can do whatever works for you. And then I really like a little crunch. I like texture to my salad. So I made a little mix here of some roasted sunflower seeds and some slivered almonds. So I'm going to sprinkle probably about a tablespoon or so of those on top. And then to add even a little bit more protein, and again, just some new flavors, some new textures, I took a can of chickpeas and I just roasted them in the oven with a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper for about 20 to 25 minutes at 400 degrees, and they get really crunchy. You can buy these in the store and they're pretty expensive, probably $3 or $4 for a package, but if you buy a can of chickpeas for usually less than $1, you can make them yourself at home. So I'm just going to sprinkle a few of those on there for some crunch. And then I really prefer to make my own salad dressing. Again, it's much more, I find, cost effective, and you can kind of play around with the flavors a little bit. So this is just a mixture of some olive oil, red wine vinegar, a little bit of Dijon mustard. What else did I throw in there? To balance out the acidity of the vinegar, I put a little bit of maple syrup and some salt, maybe a little garlic. And I'm just going to shake that up, and then I'm not going to add it quite yet. I'm going to save this. I've got my lunch ready to go, and I will add the dressing right before I decide to eat it. Amy, back to you for dinner. Oh, wait, no, I have dinner. Well, I must say, dinner was actually kind of a tag team. Amy sent me a recipe the other day, and that's one of the things that we also encourage in the program is for people to share recipes, share ideas, whether it's with other people in the program or other people in their lives, to keep each other motivated. So Amy said, hey, I tried this recipe the other day and it was really good. So we happen to have all of the ingredients already at home, so I made it as well. I'm just going to share my screen with you. I'm not going to prep dinner here at this exact moment, but I took a picture of it to show Amy and to thank her for sharing that recipe with me. So this is a chicken burger. I think Amy made it a little bit differently, and she can explain the way she put this meal together, but it's a chicken burger with some shredded zucchini added to really add that moisture. Ground chicken is a great alternative to ground beef. It has a lot less saturated fat. So I made a zucchini burger with some cilantro, I think a little bit of lime zest in there. I topped it with some guacamole, and then on the side, I did a little brown rice with some more zucchini, as well as some onion. And I think I added a little bit of taco seasoning. It was Cinco de Mayo last night. I wanted to add kind of that Mexican flair and a little bit of spice. So, Amy, you want to share how you made this same recipe, but just a little bit differently?
Yeah, I loved it. It was such a great way of getting a little less fat, saturated fat. I used ground turkey, and the zucchini makes those the chicken or the turkey a little bit more moist, because if you overcook them, or if you're not really careful, you can get a really dried out piece of meat. So the zucchini really helped with that. I chopped mine with onions in a little food processor, so it was pretty fine, which allows it to not be too moist. If you do too big of chunks, it could really like not hold the patty together very well. And the other key is freezing the patty before you cook it on the grill. So once you've made the patties, if you stick them in the freezer for about 10-15 minutes, it allows it to hold its shape a little bit better when you go to saute it, or if you put it out on the grill. I did the cumin, I did the cilantro, salt and pepper, and then once again, like Jill, I topped it with some homemade guacamole that I had made. And I had a side salad for my side instead of the rice, but obviously if you do add the rice, that's a great way to get your whole grain in there. Because these burgers don't have any breadcrumbs in them, you can afford to have your grain on the side. So that was a great suggestion, Jill. And actually the people who were eating the regular burgers were a little bit jealous of what we had because it looked so yummy and smelled so good. So it's important to explore different options when it comes to healthy eating. And if you keep in mind that plate that Jill showed us, it'll give you the foundation of how to build your meals. So hopefully you guys got something out of this today. We'd love to know what you thought about it. So go ahead and put a comment underneath this post and let us know, is this something that you're doing? Did you get some tips out of it that you hadn't heard before? Do you have some healthy food option suggestions that you want to talk about? And of course, we're always looking for suggestions about what to talk about in future videos. So please let us know what you think, what you're looking for, and we'll be able to address those. Don't forget, this program is being offered all the time. It's the Prevent T2 program. And we continually add locations and class dates all the time, both during the day and at night. So please go look at our webpage at ECHN.org. Click on the Diabetes tab and go to the Prevent T2. And a full description of the program is on there and how to get in contact with us so that you can find out more. Thanks for joining us today, you guys. Go out there and build some healthy meals, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks, Jill.
Thanks, Amy. We'll see you all soon.